Hello, everybody. Or nobody, anybody. I don't know. So, happy Thanksgiving 2023, or Nerdsgiving, as I often say. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. Although today is actually Black Friday, which is such a weird reference point that, it's supposed to be this like big, awesome shopping day, and it gets labeled as Black Friday. I don't know why we leaned so hard into that. Like why that was a thing. Why it is a thing. Why we call it Black Friday. It seems weird. Welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. Today's a live episode. It's episode 212. Normally, for the last couple of years, for the Nerdsgiving episodes, I have time to record one ahead of time. I need to fix my camera. I need to get a little closer and fix my camera. Let's fix this. Let's make this a thing. Okay, there we go. Much better. But yeah, we normally I have the opportunity to record ahead of time, have the time. But yesterday I cooked for my entire family, including some extended family. So I spent most of the day making an assortment of food, a whole table full of food for my fam. And then when I got all done and we got done cleaning up and sitting around and talking and enjoying family time, when it was all said and done, it was too late, and I just did not feel like recording an episode. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go live for the next one. So live I am, and live I am here. We are going to talk about a couple of things today, and then taking questions and all that. I'm scheduled to do the whole hour live. But if things slow down a lot, or if I run out of things to talk about, I may cut it off a little early because it is still a work day and I got a lot going on. I give myself my lunch break to do this on live days. So, yeah. So the week in Brian, let's chit chat about that. We last weekend got a chance to play in my wife's D&D game, The Land of Monsters, and for all of her fussiness and worry, and oh man, because the session before we finished like a boss level encounter for her. And she came to me a couple of days before the session and was like, "So, can I ask you a question as a designer and not and a GM and not as a player?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And she goes, "How do you I don't know where to go from here. Like I don't know what's going on." And so we talked it over, and she was so worried, but it was no big deal. It was awesome. We did she did a great job. She stayed with us, hung out with us, kept us going. We had a great session. We had a couple of minor fights, which was cool. It was neat to get into little scraps that aren't end of the world style, fights. But it was for me, apart from the fact that she did amazingly well for being so worried about the session. And having to try and improv, some stuff here and there. I was very proud of my kid. So Connor is almost 15. He'll be 15 like less than 2 weeks from now. And he's been playing D&D with us for about a year. But he's also been playing, in the D&D club at school, and he's starting to kind of branch out and think outside the box. But up until this last session, he's always been, you kind of have to sort of urge him to take a stance at the table, to think about things, to do stuff. Well, he came out. Not only did he come out of his box, but he came out swinging. He did really, really good this weekend, with like figuring out how to use the powers that he has, figuring out his class powers and It was very, very cool. It was nice to see him really kind of stretching his legs, role playing wise, and also he uh, uh like there were how can I put this? Gamers often talk about game theory. Like a lot of time they'll talk about this spell is better than this spell or that power with this thing. Like there's a lot of chit chat about that kind of stuff. And he actually went ahead and like was discussing the individual spells that his character has for in school. This feat and this spell would go really, really well together. And he was talking about his school character for the D&D club at school. It's really neat to see him coming into his own as a gamer and not just playing because dad wants to play. Like it's cool to see him really get into it. And not even just that. One of the first people, or one of the people this is their first game ever, first role playing ever. She is really taking to it, and she's thinking about her spells. There was an instance where someone else at the table was trying to tell her how to maybe this, and she's like, no, I'm doing it this way, and this is I read this, I know what I'm doing. It's cool. Part of my experience in this industry is getting to see other people find their gamer legs, and it was really cool. It was really, really neat. What's up, Akneth? Says, when the inner gamer comes out of the shell, it's such a powerful moment. Really, it really, really is. When you see that moment where they're not just waiting for someone to tell them what die to roll, but they've got it. They know what they're doing. I mean, we all have moments where we screw up and we're like, now what is this skill? What is this spell? What do I do here? Did I screw that up? We all do it. Hell, in games that I've written, I'll sometimes screw it up. But it's neat to see new gamers find that connection, and it was really cool. I'm very happy for that. So yeah, that was really the only gaming that I did, apart from some video games. Not that video game, there's anything wrong with that. It's just I don't want to spend every week telling you guys about the same 3 video games that are awesome. Although I did finally beat the story of Gears of War Tactics, which again, if you have the Xbox Game Pass and if you like the Gears of War universe, or if you like the XCOM games, totally check those out. Gears of War Tactics is a fantastic video game, especially for play it free on Game Pass. I lied. I did get more gaming in because I played a game of Conquest on Wednesday night. Between me and one of my buddies, my Dwagum versus his Nords, and he beat me. I was like 15-19 victory points after 10 turns. And it came down to a handful of, I missed a few charges, and I couldn't win initiative to save my life. So he always had me on the back foot at the beginning of every turn. It was good. It was a fun game. Like, above all else, I absolutely love, even if I lose, which happens a lot, even if I lose, as long as I had a good time, I don't care. Like I know that those are 2-3 hours well spent. Still unsure says, evening all, hope you're all well. I hope you're well. I hope you guys are all well. So far so good. After the Thanksgiving feast yesterday, which of course the diet was right out the window, including pie, got up early this morning and got back to the gym, and so I can't let it turn me into a backslide of grub. But yeah, so that's all the personal stuff. Painting wise, finally finished those battle mechs that I've been talking about for several months. They're finally done. And started in on a couple of conquest figs. So I'm deciding that I'm not going to sell my dwarves. I'm going to keep going. Figuring out what to make for lunch. Do you have any leftovers from yesterday? because if you do, I can't wait for leftovers today. Although it was funny is so the thumbnail for this live is me holding one of the turkey legs from the turkey that I did yesterday, and I was not even remotely hungry when I took the picture. But I was looking around for a place to set it down. I was like, I'll save this for lunch. And I realized halfway through editing the picture um, that I had picked it up like twice and taken bites out of it. So, so I ate a turkey leg this morning. Very late breakfast post gym. Protein. Going for a traditional Scottish chippy for tea tonight. No diet friendly in the slightest. Yeah, I could understand. I could understand that not being very diet friendly. But you know what? Every once in a while, even if people are trying to unless it's legitimately like if you have this you'll die. Sometimes you gotta uncork. You gotta kind of reset your clock because it's how can I put this? Life is really really short, and while I'm trying my best to get in better shape, to get strong, and to get uh hopefully at some point smaller, um it is I am also well aware that you have to be able to enjoy life because at any moment things could change. At any moment things could be you could be put into a situation where you aren't given the opportunity to enjoy life. So you got to find a happy medium. Yeah, you got to find that happy medium. So yeah, occasionally I have no problem uncorking, grabbing some fast food, or grabbing a bag of Sour Patch Kids or something from the gas station. So long as it's not, I'm gonna buy two giant bags of like Cheetos and eat them all in one day. Like that. That's everything in moderation. Coming from the nation that invented deep fried Mars bars, I'm not on a diet yet. Oh man, yeah, deep fried candy is weird. I'm not a fan. I like fried food, but there is something very strange about deep frying weird things just to say you deep fry them, in my opinion. And that even includes I will kill a Twinkie. I'll murder it. But a deep fried Twinkie is just weird. I feel like they just there's something different and weird about them. Um, but that being said, fair food is always pretty awesome. Kind of across the board, funnel cakes and elephant ears and all that stuff. But yeah, so did some painting, did some gaming professionally. It's been a really good week. I am slugging away on a cool Evil Genius project to get it into editing. Hopefully very very soon. I just got the green light to start putting principal words down on a new project that I can't talk about. But I'm hoping that will be do well for the company, and obviously do well for me. Still slugging away at the Shadowrun novel. It is what it is. I don't have as much time as I would like to devote, but coming here in a little, almost a month, just about a month, we get to have our holiday break from Evil Genius. We get to kind of take some time off. And while a lot of people will be taking that time off to spend with their families, I will be taking that time off to lock myself in here for very long hours with lots of coffee and get a lot of words down on that project. Because I love getting to make fiction, and just raw fiction, just telling stories. But during the day, I've got so many meetings and things not during the day, during the week. By the time I get done with my day, I don't normally want to sit here and keep working on extracurriculars. So we'll see. I do have something cool, but I don't know if I can talk about it yet. I just realized I'm not sure if I can. I'll keep it in vagueness. This week we announced the people over at Six Sides of Gaming and Lindvander Studios announced the Imarian Nights Kickstarter, which it is going to succeed. It's going to fund. Probably could use a little more attention, but I am on. I share some page space with a lot of very very cool people like Luke Gygax, Lisa Teague, Damian Haas, Todd Stashwick, was it B Zelda? I know him, Ed Greenwood. Duh. There's a bunch of really cool people in that book with me, and I'm really psyched because I love that world. It's a fun world. If you've ever seen me play my Barbarian Nuggle Honeysbane on any live stream, if it's Nuggle, it's because I'm in an Imarian live stream, and I got to put some words down on the page on that project. I'm super psyched about that. And so please, if you are watching this, then you already have access to my socials. And I've been posting the link quite a bit. Please go check it out, even if you just throw a buck at it to raise the algorithm's awareness and get into the comment pages and stuff and see some of the cool stuff that world creates. Easily the best rules for like time magic, for its chronomancy. Easily the best rules I've ever seen for something like that. A lot of really cool like D&D 5e style species, and some class alterations. It's just a lot of really cool stuff. And I'm expecting it to hopefully pick up a little bit. I think some of it might just be timing. You know, there's a lot of really good role-playing stuff on Kickstarter right now, and this one ends right before going into like the prime Christmas shopping months. So I'm thinking, or months, Christmas shopping days. So I'm thinking that maybe the slow start, like I said, it is going to fund, and they're unlocking stretch goals already, but it's not doing the gangbusters that I would anticipate this kind of lineup. So please, if you give it an opportunity, pop over. It's called the Imarian Nights. IMARIAN, nights as in evenings, so NIGHTS. Give it a search and throw them a buck or two or more, obviously, if you want the books. And give them a share. You know, send the word out. Put the flags up, because there's a lot of really cool people in this book, in this Kickstarter, that really cool people's work that we're going to see. I'm not trying to be like I'm really cool people. I'm literally saying that the people that I got to work with on this, some of them are some awesome names. So I am humbled by the company that I was given, the company that I was allowed to keep on this. Yeah. So I think apart from that, I believe next Friday, I've got something cool coming out on Drive-Thru and Evil Genius's websites. More on that soon. Yeah, so I did get something cool in the mail that I want to show you guys. Which, by the way, feel free to ask questions and stuff. We're just going to talk about what Black Friday means to the game industry a little bit later when I get past this. But I did want to show everybody. So my last Power Rangers book that I did for Essence 20 before I left Renegade was Finster's Monstermatic Cookbook, a thick tome. It's basically the monster book for that setting, and I had so much fun with this. I got to invent alien sorcery and do the psychopath, the Psycho Rangers as playable things. And hey, Abby, how you doing? But like it was just really really cool stuff. I was very very happy with it. But only the Power Rangers can give you a monster that I had to stat and come up with powers for, that is a turtle that has a hook hand, a baseball bat, and a stoplight, a traffic light growing out of his head. It is such a weird setting that has such strange things. Like, this is the samurai fan man. You know this because he's a samurai and he has a giant wind fan that he fights with. Let's see if I got any other weird ones that jump out. So I got to give Renegade, if there is one thing that Renegade does really, really well, it is the art, the artists that they have. So this is from the Five Poisons. I think it's Five Poisons. Is that what they're called? Pretty sure. Yes, I think so. Either way, this is the guy. He's from the Five Fingers of Poison. This is the character's called Toady, and he's this like mushroomy toad themed poison assassin. And the rubber suit version was kind of dorky looking, but they made him look badass. Like, he looks great. I would like, yeah, he's kind of goofy, but if I would fight against that in a more serious game, I would be fine with. And then you've got something like Rantipede, which is a centipede themed monster that has a sack on his head, and he actually has an ability that if he gets unmasked, he's terrifying in a different way. It's very weird stuff. Very, very weird. But like, it was so much fun to go in. And yeah, we had to do some fixing reprints of a few things. And there were a few monsters that were supposed to be in here that got cut for space. A few of which that I really, really wish that they would have reached out to me and asked which ones should be cut, because there's a few of them that got cut that are still referenced. It is what it is, but it's a very, very cool, addition to the universe. Look at this. This is Camdor, Miratrix's master. Is an awesome swordsman with a big fur collar. It's a great piece of art. Yeah, it's a great. I'm gonna sound very non-humble here. It's a great book, and I think that people really should. If you're a Power Rangers fan, or if you're an Essence 20 game master, and you want some like weird surprise monsters to throw at your foes, you can always reskin them a little bit. Like, you're playing. Let's say you're playing GI Joe. And you are like, I need to. We'll use Toady, the poison ninja frog dude assassin. You could easily reskin that guy as like a viper, like an assassin viper or something, or like some kind of special character that works for the Iron Grenadiers. Like, you could absolutely, or hell, a Cobra Law creation. You don't always have to do it. Well, this is one of the Five Fingers of Poison from this season of Power Rangers. You don't have to do that. You can just use those stats as a different critter. There's a bunch of stuff from like the Machine Empire. Those could be really cool bad guys against Transformers. Yeah, so I just think that it's a great book no matter what. Acknet says so many Ranger monsters fit as weird alien creatures for Transformers. Yeah, exactly. You could totally just create a planetoid that they go to, and it's occupied by the putties. It's great. It's fantastic. So that came out. I found out that the Imarian Nights Kickstarter went live, and Ed Greenwood, the creator of the Forgotten Realms, did some work in there too. There's actually a really cool little fun commercial that he did for the Imarian Nights. It's just cute. He did it as Elminster, and I found out earlier this week that next year, early next year, I'm actually going to be in a different project with Ed that we both signed on for. So it's been a great week for lots of different reasons. Very productive, very, very collectively good. And then also the almost close to being finalized beta rules for Warzone Eternal came out. We posted those on the Discord, and then like the next day we posted them in the Facebook group. And people are already starting to start talking about playing, seeing the differences, seeing the changes that were made, and some discussion to what they do. You loved the abilities. The abilities. Oh, you mean the faction abilities that you can spend deployment points on if you've got some spare change. Correct? I think so. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. So funny story. Yeah, the ones you'd buy was spare DPs. Funny story, true story about the faction abilities. So they were slightly different when I wrote them and gave them over to Alex. Alex did his development pass on it and cleaned them up a little bit, changed them a little bit. I had fewer of them, but I also had a few of them that were a little more expensive that they did more. And so we kind of talked it over, and we thought that it made more sense to make them universally one point, but then specifically have it so each one can only get used once, and that that they're all going to just cost one. And then for the ones that were maybe a little too powerful, we toned them down a little bit and then made them one deployment point. Because again, at the end of the day, these are designed to add a little extra flavor to the armies, to the factions, but also to help if you're sitting down to build an army, to build your force, and you just keep coming up with, well, I can't do it. I can either take this guy or two of this guy and then come up 2 points short. Like it's designed to help fill in the gaps, not necessarily to create super powerful combos or anything like that, but it's to add cool flavor and to fill in the gaps so you don't feel like you're wasting like you're wasting points because you don't want to field a particular dude. And this is especially important at the beginning of us launching this game, because you only have so many model options. Like the math isn't there. As more unit types come out and there is more variation of what you can bring, that'll be a different story. I think right now these are going to turn into, I have to take one or two of them because my unit mesh doesn't quite work out. I think eventually it'll turn into, I want to leave room for the hyperactivator. I want to leave room for the self-repair kit. Like those sorts of things. I think it'll turn into more of a this is an option that I want to add rather than something that I have to bring in order to get me up to 30 or 40 points. But overall, like the changes that we made, we like what we did. Alex and I, we talk constantly about these sorts of things during the process. It's part of the reason why it took so long to get fully typed out all the changes and things, because a lot of them were really just minor little things, little tiny things. Just like the -1 to 0 on the Hatamoto, but the right call for it turned into now the minus the big the giant minus to their defense on for Duelist, they feel a little like they're in the better spot now. If you get into close combat, they are the masters of close combat. You're gonna have a hard time hitting them. They're gonna hit you all day, every day. But they are still wearing kind of bigger, chunkier armor. Michael says, "Hello, everyone. Nice evening." It's actually not evening here, but nice evening to you. I was recently asked a question about Warzone retail. I think it was answered somewhere, but if you know the answer to this, please, will the retail price be equal to the Kickstarter prices? So Alex would probably have the final say on that, but I think if anything, if the retailers, obviously the retailers are buying stuff now through the backer kit, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, the Alex posted that the retail, or not the retail, the backer kit will be closing on December 15th. So it gives him a chance to go to PAX Unplugged, do a bunch of demos, get some more people, psyched up and into it. But the backer kit will be closing December 15th. So if you don't get in by then you got to wait for the retail release next year. That's going to be it. You won't be able to change your pledges and things, and the people who have outstanding pledges will need to then pay. What were we talking about? Oh, the retail price, the MSRP. I know that retailers are buying stuff at the same prices right now, like they're buying as if this is going to be the same price. But barring anything weird from here until now, the retail prices should be right around the same amount. You're not going to see a giant retail price hike. You're not going to, if there is an adjustment because of the time that has passed or additional costs or anything, it's possible that there might be a slight increase, but we haven't talked about that. That's not in the plans. And if anything like that would happen, it would be because it has to happen for the retail to proceed. It shouldn't. Alex is a really smart cat, and he's figured out most of this stuff. But I just don't want to say. I don't want to say anything 100% certain, absolutely, because if I'm wrong, then I look bad. Alex is upset. It's literally just I don't have all of that information. That's on the management business side of things. But if there is any kind of adjustment, it would be slight. It would have to be. It would really have to be. Gorilla was chef's kiss. Yeah. So what was funny is I did a couple of playtest games. Specifically, I went very heavy Martian Banshee in my playtest games because we were trying to figure out the new situation for flight to make it easier and not wonky and filled with corner cases and stuff. And so we made it as simple as possible. But during that exchange, we talked about how they really probably should have nerves of steel. They should have, but then if we gave them nerves of steel, then the Freemarines they're just basically Martian Banshees that don't fly. And it felt weird. So we started figuring out, and Alex, I remember getting the email. Alex goes, all right, or the text message. He's like, all right, so how about we give the Freemarines something unique that no one else has yet, and it really sets them apart. And he goes, and I'm going to throw something at you, and tell me what you think. And he shot out the initial basic rules for Gorilla, and I was like, that's awesome. Yes, it's a low chance that it's gonna win the game for you, but it's a chance, and it also puts them puts the Freemarines into a place that they have a niche. They have something that they're good at, just like the operators or any of the models that have tactical. That those guys are going to be sent towards objectives. That's where they sing. You get a pair of Praetorian Stalkers, you want them to be close to each other so they can synergize. It was such a great call, and I cannot thank Alex enough for coming up with that sort of lightning strike brain. You would change the penalty of missile weapons to -2 instead to heavy obstruction like cover. Change the penalty. Oh, you mean for flying? The reason why that we instead of using it by saying obstruction is because there will be future abilities and units and things that allow you to ignore obstruction. And using those terminologies, using that terminology specifically is it means that we're future proofing some of the new special abilities. And the -4 to hit it. The reason why it's -4 and not -2 is because Martian Banshees, the fact that when you take flight, you now know that if your opponent, especially because the board is so small, that you're going to get caught out in the open on purpose. It ignores all terrain. And Martian Banshees should be hard to hit while they're flying through the air, or you're never going to see them. You're never going to use them. Now, down the road, when we get things like Purple Sharks, Rams Air Cav, some of the larger flyers, that -4 is still a universal. If you are flying, you are -4 to hit, but it means that things that are bigger targets, things like a purple shark or something along those lines, we can build in the fact that it is a larger target, so the defense modifier might be +1 or +2 instead of the +0 of a Martian Banshee. It might be an easier target to hit just because they're larger. So it's going to bring that flight penalty a little more into the right the right swing. Martian Banshee should be hard to hit while they're in flight, because every time that they take flight, your opponent will have, unless you've timed it right, you can pretty much always guarantee that you're going to get shot at once, because you can only get reacted to once while you're doing an action, but it guarantees a shot every time. And at -2, especially with some of the people like the Shinobi Sniper or hell, Hatamoto, or some, that Martian Banshee is coming in for the charge. It means a lot of those shots are going to be they're going to be in short range, and a lot of weapons have got bonuses to hit, which again reduces that penalty. So it's hard. It was hard to come up with. Originally, I tossed it out there to Alex. I was like, why don't we put it right in the middle, like -3, since it's not being classified as an obstruction either way, light or heavy? Why don't we just go ahead and say -3 to hit? And I think it was just the fact that -3 is an odd number and it felt weird, so we bumped it up to 4. Like and so far the playtests have shown that it works out. They're not unkillable. They still hit the ground and are then, they still take the one shot per flight. And if you're flying, if you're choosing to fly over somebody with a heavy machine gun, you're taking 3 shots. But yeah, so it's a give and a take, and I think that it'll come. That flight penalty will come into its own when there are more flyers, if that makes any sense. Generally, I like the version 2 beta. I believe the gameplay plays perfectly. Well, thank you, Avi. That actually does mean a lot. And we are very fortunate in the fact that our player base, our community, has been so good about getting, telling us about the games that they play. Would they look through this, and if they find we've even found a couple of typos in the version 2 beta, which will obviously be fixed. But we are getting so close to the wire of being able to be done with the rule set initially, and then now we just get to focus on production. I get to focus on just cleaning up and designing and getting the next waves of stuff into playtest. It's a process, but it's so cool to see it come together, and even like the little changes that happen. The ripples in the water sometimes are pretty significant. Nephrite looks so scary. Yes, he is a monster. But that being said, I've had mine. I've ran out and I've charged somebody, murdered them, and then realized I'm standing out in the open, and then get just everybody shots, or here's another hit. Oh, here's another hit. Oh, here's another hit. It's been a while, but I've lost him in a single round because I just was caught in the open, and guy had a couple of redacted units with machine guns, and the playtester ripped my Nephrite to pieces, and I had to think for a second. Was that a corner case? Was the Nephrite not tough enough, or was it bad dice? And in my case, it was a combination of I ran him out to kill somebody important, and then realized I'm standing in the open. I've got nothing to protect me, and his dice were pretty good, and mine were pretty not so good. And so he went down. Wave 2, let's go. Yeah, I'm excited. Sometime after PAX Unplugged, Alex and I are going to get together in person and have a long, like a Saturday afternoon dinner, and discuss the actual like schedule of things that we're going to do for next year, and talk about Alliance, Adepticon, yeah, so there's a lot going on. Warzone is if I need a refresher for my creative batteries, if I need something that just to remind me, hey Brian, you're doing the right thing, you're doing good stuff, there's cool things happening, and there's people that are playing your games. I pop over to the Warzone, Facebook group, or I pop over to the Warzone Discord, and I just listen to people talk about getting games in, and that's rad. I'm super excited. In fact, I did a demo game for my son's Godfather just this last week. God, I guess I did play a lot of games last week, where it was his Mishima versus my Capital, and I got it. He had a great time. I had a good time too, but I got eviscerated. Like, I don't mind losing; it happens, but I got handed. It was hilariously bad. My dice were hot garbage. His like opening shot of the game crit hit my Free Marine leader in the eye, of which I then turn around and immediately failed with like a 19 of the armor save. Whap. Oh yeah, no, it was great. Also, if you haven't had a chance to field a medic, you should definitely do it. Even if it's not for the running out and healing of wounds, just that little aura that they've got of not having the 2 wound, super ugly roll on the casualty rolls, that's worth its weight in gold. I'll take a medic for that, hands down. And yes, I am aware not every army has medics yet. In fact, there's one that is probably one of the coolest medics in the game that is going to see some playtesting very soon. Yeah, so let's talk. I mean, I'll answer any questions and stuff, and I'm sure I'll tangent off because I've got like another 15, 20 minutes before my lunch break / live is over. Yeah, I think the topic that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about Black Friday and Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday. I like how you differentiate humanity versus monsters of the dark symmetry. Oh, I appreciate that. It is a the Dark Legion has always I've always loved it, but it is one of those things where in older versions of the game, Dark Legion tended to be just universal. Like they could do everything twice. All right, what do we got here? We got from Innate Games at the party. Oh, hey, what's up, Nate? Christian Thunberg or Thunberg. I don't know if I pronounced it. It might be a Thunberg. I don't know. Either way, hello. Will there be an update to the lore in Warzone? So yes and no. The place that we've chosen to set Warzone Eternal initially is during the corporate wars. Basically, where the Dark Legion is still kind of rising in efficiency, and the other apostles are here now. But for the most part, we're definitely trying to stay to as close to like kind of the original style of canon. There are some changes, obviously. Anytime that you have an update to a game, you're going to put your own fingerprints in it. You're going to put your own coat of paint on certain things. Maybe certain things that the aspects that you might disagree with, or instances that need to be just updated. Because some things are just weird. The way they were before, or maybe something was left unsaid before that we've decided needs to be said or clarified. So is there going to be massive sweeping changes to lore? No. We want the Mutant Chronicles we want Warzone Eternal to be a nice stand-up foray into the Mutant Chronicles of that time period. But we also don't want to just regurgitate stuff that's been happening for the last 30 years. We want to update it and make it more in line with today's gamers, but also without throwing away 30 years of lore that is awesome. There's just, you got to pick your battles. There are certain things that you can change. There's certain things that you probably shouldn't. There's certain things that you can reprint without having an issue, and there's certain things that no, they probably need some updating. So that's a hard question to answer with a yes or no directly. Will there be some updating? Absolutely. Is it going to be like a complete overhaul of the Mutant Chronicles like / Warzone lore? No, definitely not. Alex and I both love this universe way too much to just come in and immediately start swinging at the giants, so to speak, the bio giants. Abby says, speaking of lore, can't wait for the book from Kickstarter. I'm with you. I can't wait either. Yes, I've got a story in it, but I was able to do most of the initial edit pass and the compilation, and I wrangled the writers. But it was a lot of fun to read what they put together. Some of the stuff needed some cleanup because of maybe they've never worked with the Mutant Chronicles before. They're newer in that universe. Seasoned writers, but you get a new setting that you're working with, and there's a lot of learning curve sometimes. And then so after I did my passes and I did my compilation, Alex went through and did his passes and his compilation. We had to make a few edits here and there, but it's gonna be a fun book, and I think that that little fiction book combined with the stories that we are putting in the actual printed rule book, people are going to get a lot of really cool lore, and I'm very interested to see if some of those characters end up getting some homebrew stat lines, or someone maybe has some scenarios based off of some of the things that we see. I mean, I completely agree. I can't wait for that book either. It's going to be pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So talking about before more comments come in, talking about Black Friday. So Black Friday as the retail monsters, Black Friday / Cyber Monday. It used to be just today. Like years ago, it was just the day after Thanksgiving. People would wait out in the morning lines to get the deals and stuff. And as online shopping became more potent and more used, then Cyber Monday got added. And then now people have Black Friday sales that start 2 weeks before, and go into like the end of November. It's now Black Friday is now more of a concept than an exact science. But there's a bunch of really cool. A lot of companies are doing good things for Black Friday / Cyber Monday. I know Evil Genius is doing, I want to say it's like 25 or 30% off from our website on everything except for the brand new releases. So you can get in a lot of really, really good stuff for really cheap. Someone had told me that the Modifius Amazon store is selling like the Dune book for like $25. So yeah, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff. So if you have an opportunity when you're done watching this video, find some stuff, buy your friends some presents, buy your Brian some presents. No, kidding. Maybe, I don't know. But it is very interesting. I think COVID may have had something to do with it, where internet shopping became so prevalent. You don't hear anymore about. You used to, on Black Friday, you used to hear the horror stories of the Walmart crush to get to the TVs, and the tramplings at Target. You used to hear about all that kind of stuff because of the Black Friday crazy sales. And now, because so many companies went to online retail being the same, you don't get that anymore. Not that that's a bad thing. Like we don't want people to get crushed for retail. But it is very interesting that we still use the term Black Friday. You know, we still use that concept of, oh man, the big sales are going to happen, but they're already happening. They're already out there. We already knew about them, and it's not just today. So it's a very interesting shift in the retail paradigm. And I'm, for one, glad, because if there's a few things that I know that I want to get on Black Friday sales for my kids, especially if you're watching, ignore. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say they might be watching this. But it is so strange that I'm like, when I got up this morning to go to the gym, I didn't like, all right, well, I got to make sure that, you know, I get all my money squared away and whatever, because I got to, you know, after the gym, I got to go straight to, you know, this store and get this taken care of, you know, all of that. That's not what happened. Because I know that when I'm done working today, when I'm done, you know, getting all my art orders in stuff for the books, and when I get my work done today, I can just take a leisurely stroll down to one of the shops, and if they don't have it there on site, I can just order it from their website. You know, like it's so weird. It's so weird. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. So we are down to our last like 9 minutes. For those of you who are still sticking around to chit chat, let's open the floor for any questions or anything that anybody might have that want to get me on a quick talk. Quick talk, the faster, you know, even the even faster version of TikTok, or the section of TikTok where you only talk about Nestle Quick. I'm sorry about that. That was a dad level pun. Stuffing or dressing. So I made, okay, so the actual difference, I don't know if Nate, if I don't know if you know this, but everyone else, so stuffing is supposed to be because it's stuffed inside of the bird. Dressing is the window dressing. It's the stuff that you make around the bird, around your central dish. The reason why stovetop stuffing is called the way it is because it is a stuffing style. It's technically a dressing, but you're making it on a stovetop sans bird because it's all there. I prefer dressing because stuffing generally gets super gloppy and gloopy and soaks up a ton of fat, and it ends up being almost like a pudding by the time it comes out of there. And it also is harder to get that cooked all the way through unless it dries out your bird. So I do dressing, although I often use stuffing kits to make my dressing, if that makes any sense. And I always doctor pretty much anything that I buy. Any store-bought anything I doctor and end up adding stuff to. I think like my stuffing kit yesterday, I added like some roasted garlic, like maybe a half a teaspoon of MSG, and like a splash of cayenne to give it a little bit of a zip. This is what I do. I screw around in the kitchen, and occasionally I just go, let's do some stuff. But I also have to remember, yesterday I had to remember that my mother-in-law was coming to the table, and she is not a spicy food person. So I needed to make sure when I do my splash of cayenne, I leave it at regular people levels, not at Brian and his budding spice heads of a family, that kind of levels. Did I answer your question? I could go off on a tangent about food all day long. No, so speaking of which, while I'm waiting for more stuff to come in, I did a Cajun butter injected turkey, just oven roasted. I don't do fried or smoked. I don't have a smoker or a deep fryer, for that matter, that can handle a turkey. So yeah, I did an oven roasted Cajun butter injected turkey. I did roast loaded potatoes with some pecorino cheese over the top and caramelized shallots. Those turned out great. One of my kids was turned their nose up at it. So it might not be the right it might be a slightly more advanced palate for that one, an advanced flavor profile. But I dug the hell out of them, and I will be eating more later today, probably. I did some bacon green bean casserole. I did my stuffing. I did black peppered corn, and there's something else. I could have swore I was. I think that's about it. We had pies, but I knew I was not going to have time to bake pies just with all the stuff going on in my life. So we did store bought pies, but we have a bakery downtown that is phenomenal. They're a little expensive, but they are totally worth it. So we had passion fruit lemon meringue pie, a pear baklava, and a s'mores pie for the kiddo that does not like fruit pie. The kiddo who does not experiment was like, here, you get a s'mores pie. Then of course bread. We had biscuits and stuff there at the table. But no, it turned out really good. I was very happy, very satisfied. The potatoes were a little saltier than I expected, and I think that may have come from the fact that I forgot how salty pecorino cheese is. So I had already seasoned everything, and then I added the cheese and was like, "Ooh, that's a little spicy, a little salty." But it was good. It was a good thing. Yeah. I love me a good baklava. Technically, this was a pear baklava pie. So it was pie filling with phyllo dough over the top, and then it had like pistachio walnut, like baklava paste, but with chopped up pears in it. That was the pie filling itself. It was really good, crazy rich. Like, I would not have been able to eat more than a tiny piece of this thing. Not just because I'm scared of the calorie day, but it was a very dense pie and super worth it. I assume Avi, by saying that you are into baklava, you probably are a big fan. I'm assuming by your announcement. If you visit the States, I'll bring you some. Oh, dude, if you are ever stateside and it is in a way that I can find you in some fashion, I would kill for some not legitimately YouTube gods. I'm not threatening anyone. I legitimately would do just about anything for some like legit baklava. We had a place here in town that did phenomenal samosas and baklava, to the point where you had to like call at the beginning of the day and say, "Hey, I'm going to be showing up at around 2. Can you have this ready for me?" But they closed down a long time ago, and I have not found anywhere that does decent stuff. And I am horrible. I like to bake, but the hard stuff I can't. I've tried to laminate my own phyllo dough. It's not me. Christian says, "I'm a character in the latest Mutant Chronicles RPG, just so you know, if you need a Heretic Bauhaus character, looking forward to the new Warzone game." Dude, Christian, that's awesome. I'm super glad that you are in the RPG. Are you in the Warzone Discord, the Warzone Eternal Discord? If they're from the Balkans or Turkey, then it's legit. I don't know where they were from. I have no idea. It was many years ago. They were over on campus. I have no idea where they were from, and I would be I would probably be borderline offensive if I tried to figure out if I tried to like I had no clue, not a clue, completely. I 100% have no idea. All I know is that they made amazing food, and it was right down the road from one of my apartments, so I could stop and just like go pick up stuff. It was fantastic. Part of the reason why I got as big as I am. But yeah, Christian, if you're not on the Warzone Eternal Discord, you totally should. And there's a lot of people that still talk about the RPGs. Although it is a fan run if it's fan run for Warzone Eternal specifically, there's still a lot of people that talk about like Siege of the Citadel and Doom. We opened up a section to talk about the Doom Trooper card game. So yeah, you should totally come over and chit chat, get involved. Oh, big thumbs up. Bam. All right. Well, it is about that time for me to say goodbye for today. I have more work to do, and now I'll just talk about baklava and things. I'm hungry, so I'm going to probably grab a working lunch before I get back to work. But even though we didn't talk barely a little bit about actual, I want pie now. I know, for real. Is the problem with Thanksgiving is it resets your ability to go, oh man, food is good. Damn it. But yeah, so I appreciate and love all of you. Please, please, please be safe. You have all the Doom Trooper cards. So we had a partnership a little bit with the new guys. I can't remember for the life of me the name of the company who's doing it, but they're doing an electronic version of the Doom Trooper card game. And anybody who backed the Kickstarter got like 3 free packs of electronic cards for Doom Trooper that they're going to mail the codes out for everybody. Yeah, so like we love all things awesome. But yeah, so please be safe. We're starting to get into the flu season, so get your shots. Wear a mask in places that you think you need to, or someone asks you to, so you don't be a jerk. Wash your hands. More than anything, wash your hands. And then just try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there, and I think that everybody will be all right. So without further ado, I will see you next week. Chances are pretty good that I will have something fun to show you guys next week. So until then, please be safe and play some games. I will see you guys in a week.